Hi, welcome to the show. Today I'm delighted to showcase for you two programs in our community that are really a benefit to those in need. I'm happy to have with me Heidi Lindell, the Executive Director of Hope on the Hill, Priscilla Peduzzi, and Lori Jane. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ken, for having us.
Well, Hope on the Hill is really a beacon on the hill, a light on the hill, and they do so much for the community. And this is the second time I think you've been here on the show, but there's been some new developments, and I think it's good to let people know about the progress that we're making and the opportunities they have to participate in some great work. Well, the Hope on the Hill partnered with Co-op how many years ago in piecing community together? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so just about 3 years ago, when the McMinnville Cooperative Ministries, they had a community of individuals living successfully and stably on their property in tents. And that created a lot of controversy, and as the city explored some of the ordinances and laws around that, and trying to work with the other community members to meet the needs, decided that it had to be shut down. And so in a collaborative meeting Lori and I were part of, along with some other stakeholders, we came up with an event that we wanted to do at the time. We viewed it as a one-time event called Piecing Community Together, which was a play off of the puzzle pieces for the City of McMinnville's Ending Homelessness 10-year plan. And so based off of that, we thought all these pieces, they come together. We wanted to have it be a night of food, fun, and awareness. So we had a group of kitchen volunteers create a really amazing meal. We had some different art pieces and puzzle pieces for individuals to interact with, but really to bring underserved populations, business owners, community members, stakeholders to the same table to enjoy an evening and have meaningful conversation around that issue.
And Lori, you were part of that.
Yeah.
From the beginning. Mm-hmm. And what was your role?
I was the development director at the co-op at the time, and so working very intricately with the population on site and dealing with, some of the struggles that has with neighbors and the community, and just trying to have some awareness around, being in connection with each other. So.
And some artwork came out of that, is that right?
Yeah, so originally this one-time event, we're all there, and it was one of the most powerful evenings that I've experienced to date. We all sat around the room and we knew that it couldn't be a one-time event, that this is something we needed to bring to the community on a regular basis. At the time, there was no meal sites on Thursdays, so individuals that had food insecurities or no way to cook or access food didn't have a hot meal. And so knowing that it was going to be once a month, we picked Thursday, the second Thursday of the month, and decided to do it again. And over the first 20 months, one of our components, we took a play off the traditional cardboard sign that someone holds up for help or for money or work. And we had that available, and we invited everybody at the table to interact with it, to share their story of how homelessness had impacted them. By someone that was currently unhoused, by being a stakeholder, by being a family member, by being a business that could potentially have been negatively impacted. We wanted everybody to use it in a way to share their story artistically, through words, and then we collected those, and after 20 months, we had a Dayton High School intern, Cameron Rodriguez, and she was given very loose instructions. We wanted the 10 demographics most deeply impacted or at greatest risk within our own community to be represented in an art piece.
Can you name a few of those demographics?
The LGBTQ community, veterans, medically fragile, seniors, there's the chronically homeless, there's the 3.5 million Americans that are one paycheck away from being homeless themselves. So that's a few. Kids, over 500 homeless children in Yamhill County, in just our county.
So these are the 10 demographics that are most impacted by...
Or at highest risk.
At highest risk of?
Not having stable housing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be sleeping on the street, sleeping in a car, sleeping on a friend's couch, moving from couch to couch.
So this artist was commissioned to take the artwork and the signs that had come out of 20 months of the people attending had created.
Yep.
And represent those 10 demographics.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so we've got that, don't we? Carolyn, can you bring that up? Well, tell us about what we see here.
So you can see that she took them and created different components that represent. So you can see your veterans, your one paycheck away, unnamed and uncaptured. So it represents our families, our children, those at the greatest risk. And it's powerful. This picture doesn't do it justice.
Well,
it's the state of Oregon. It is about 5 feet tall and 7 feet wide. It's really impactful.
We've got some more pictures. Let's see what's next, Carolyn.
So, and this is currently up at the Covenant Body Arts, downtown McMinnville. It's been up at McMinnville, a local business networking group, interacted with the business community. Small Business Saturday before the big Black Friday hoopla, it was downtown at the Splash Gallery for a local business event. So it's currently moving its way through the community for people to have an opportunity to learn from it and experience the power of it. And
where is it now?
Covenant Body Arts. So it's a tattoo shop and jewelry and acupuncture. It's a little bit of everything down on 3rd Street next to 411.
Well, I'm going to go see it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. And is the plan that it continues to be
the plan is for it
without
to
a home?
Exactly. Yeah, it's for it to go around the community in different locations and allow people to be exposed. A lot of our community doesn't realize the depth that homelessness impacts our community, and they don't have the connection to the stories, the personal stories behind it. They might see some of the negative things that happen when people don't have a place to sleep, when they don't have a place to put their trash or their belongings. And so it helps reconnect to the personal side of it as well, that story of connection. And it's the starting point. So piecing community together, we are now over 30 months of having that event, and we are in the final stages of getting some funding for additional art projects that can go out into the community, that can work to gently expose the community and create a connection around some of the issues that we're facing, and hopefully lead to some proactive solutions, how we can work together to problem solve.
Well, Laura, you started this program early in piecing community together. You were there for that first night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can you tell us about what made that so powerful?
Well, I think it was the joining of different demographics of people. We weren't sure who was going to show up, or if any of the community members would come. There's a lot of meals for underprivileged people, but not a lot of those do the general public come to that are housed. And so not knowing really what was going to come out of that, and it was a joy to see people from all over the community come and be a part of that. We had people who are houseless playing chess with middle school students, and we had games, and it was just a really fun experience for people to just come together and recognize each other's humanity and just enjoy a meal together.
So there's people that I drive by that are holding signs. Sure. Often is a quandary, I feel lost, which is, I think it happens to people that they don't know what to do.
Sure.
So a first step is to get to know these people. I guess there's as many ways to be without a home or to be food insecure as there are people. It's hard to just put a reason on all of it.
For sure.
So it is complicated when you get to know these people. I've been to some of these piecing community together, and even though with good intention, there's still some void to cross there. There's still some uncertainty on how do I proceed now.
How do you start the conversation?
Yeah. Yeah. What have you seen that's effective? I mean, people are hearing about this. They say, yeah, I know all about that. It's been there. It's great. But there might be some people considering, I want to come to piecing community together. How would you help them walk into the room?
One of the things that we tell stakeholders that want to come, and there's kind of this setup typically where there's a table with me as a service provider saying, here's what I have to offer, and there's you on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so we ask the service providers to just grab a plate When you get there, we start serving the moment the doors open because people are really hungry. But come and get a plate and sit down at a table. And maybe you connect with somebody. If I personally invited you, you can connect with me and we can sit down at a table together and have a conversation. We always work to have different icebreakers available, if it's the art or if it's games. Sometimes it's interacting with the musicians and different things. We have volunteers that are there to help with that, to help break down some of those barriers and develop those conversations, develop those meaningful conversations where you're able to just see people as people.
Yeah.
2 months ago, Officer Tim Height, who was tasked specifically with serving the homeless population, came in, was joking, laughing, sat down with people that on the streets he's sometimes seen as being on the opposite side of. And so it's a venue that breaks down those barriers and allows the atmosphere. So no matter what the hesitancy or the comfort level or the skill level, all of that's built into the actual evening.
Oh, yeah.
One of the other flip sides of that is the people that are coming to that event that are also becoming the volunteers, that are coming, that are setting it up, that are getting plugged into other volunteer opportunities, and they're bridging that gap. They're stepping out of their comfort zone into the other side of things and saying, this is really great, how do I serve with you? And then they're building a relationship, oftentimes a mentor-style relationship with the volunteers they're serving side by side, and able to grow and adapt beyond that.
So there's opportunity to volunteer at Piecing Community Together.
Always.
And who's coordinating that now?
Nydia Wheeler. She's the program coordinator. She's been the program coordinator since about the third event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second Thursday of the month.
At McMinnville Cooperative Ministries, 5 to 7 p.m.
Okay. Well, that is a great example of partnership with Up on the Hill, the co-op. You have other partnerships.
Housing Authority has always been really involved, Elise Huey. Howie Harkema has been really involved with his personal project, the Compass Center, and as a key community leader, Provoking Hope is there every month. YCAP has staff that come in and use it as an opportunity for outreach and interaction. Multiple churches, school groups, and organizations across the community. We have over 29 business partners, service groups, and organizations that get plugged in.
And these service organizations, businesses, are partnering how? How do they join up?
Volunteering, providing food, providing funds or sponsorships, but almost entirely it's a hybrid of both. So Seventh-day Adventist Christian School, they decide what they want to make. They send that out through their classrooms. The kids gather that up. They then send volunteers. The volunteers help prepare the food and serve it. They bring musicians from their own school or their own church that are doing the live music in the background. Different organizations have said, we don't have capacity to come volunteer, but here's $250 to pay for the food and the drinks. So it really is a mix of all of that. Humley School of Music has been another regular supporter. They'll come in with a handful of musicians that take different sets and work collaboratively. So when we have musicians covered, then we partner with an organization that maybe has the funds or has the volunteers, and then Hope on the Hill as a whole fills in all the gaps in between.
All right. Well, that is quite a production. Second Thursday.
Yep, second Thursday of every month.
Of every month at the co-op. Well, and there's more partnerships. Tell us about maybe a more recent one, perhaps.
Yeah, so this last spring, after McMinnville Cooperative Ministries had struggled in the last year to keep Saturday morning breakfast going, it's a staple, a very valuable, important staple of our community. Over 300 people are fed every Saturday morning in a restaurant-style setting that's very personable and specific to the individual there. We just came together. We had strong relationship through Piecing Community Together to see how could we work collaboratively to reinstate Saturday morning breakfast. Keep it the integral program that McMinnville Cooperative Ministries is so passionate about and has the space and the volunteers and the love for, and then really bring in some strong leaders to run it.
So, Priscilla, this is your baby. We haven't talked about Piecing Community Together because it's Saturday morning breakfast that you've been handed the task of make it work, right?
Right. Well, it works itself, I think. People love it. It serves a great purpose. I've seen the light in people when they come in, and it's really just a privilege to be able to get to work with the cooperative ministries and some of the people like Lori, who still very involved, Delia Hammond, Pastor Brennan, just everybody that started this program a long time ago, that's still very involved and very passionate, that they allow me to be there, joining them in this effort. So.
Now, there's a lot of aspects to the Saturday morning breakfast. Can you tell us about some of your top 5 list of things to check off before it happens?
Well, every Saturday, the Saturday happens, and right after it happens, it's time to gear up for the next Saturday. Get the kitchen, get it clean, get it going. For that, we take a team of people that clean the kitchen, get the food, get the meal. Every head chef, because we have a head chef every week, a different one every week, they put together a meal, a menu, and so it's, what is the menu? We need to shop for it. We need to staff it. We need to have a whole kitchen staff to run that program because it is a restaurant style. So they come in, our guests come in, they sit down, they look at a menu, they order from the menu. So the motto is, it has to be the best restaurant in town that day. And so it has a lot of moving parts, moving parts.
So if people are being served, they're not going through a line.
No.
That takes quite a few volunteers,
Yes.
in addition to the kitchen. So you need how many volunteers?
About an average of 25 volunteers per week. And we ideally don't want them to be the same volunteers over and over again because people get tired, they get burned out. And we want them to be happy to be there. It's my week to volunteer. I get to serve the community. I get to partner up with some great people to do some great things.
So your volunteers, where do they come from?
Community members, you could be a volunteer. We would welcome
I
you.
have been a volunteer, not lately, but yeah, I've
Welcome you
served.
back.
I've washed dishes and
yeah.
I've served, and it's a great experience. But yeah, I certainly should be coming back. What organizations maybe supply you volunteers?
Betty Lou's.
Betty Lou's.
Betty Lou's. The 5th Saturday of every month, Betty Lou's comes in and supplies us some volunteers, community members. We are looking to build more partnerships with different business and service organizations around town so that we can involve everybody in it, but really anybody in the community is welcome to come in and serve. We want it.
There's some businesses that send folks besides Betty Lou's, maybe some churches, service organizations.
Yeah, coming up June 30th, the Church on the Hill has asked their staff and congregants to come down and all work together to serve the community. We're working out the final details for August 4th to be Recology. They're looking at sending team members and volunteers to come in. We've had Leadership MAC groups, Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts, family friendly, so it doesn't have to be just, adults or businesses. My son and his friends regularly come in and volunteer, and have always, long before Hope on the Hill was involved, have volunteered with busing and washing dishes and that sort of thing. So we're really looking for any service group in addition to the regular volunteers. We have a strong relationship with Linfield. The Shemekinah Honor Society is getting involved. And so in addition to those regular volunteers that come, once a month on average, having those service groups to supplement and plug in is crucial to the overall workload required to make it happen.
Well, I hope people listening are hearing groups that trigger the fact that, hey, I'm in a group like that, and we could come together and do this once a month. Perhaps, bring 5-10 people and just make it our thing. Whether it's a church, a service group, business. So somebody working in a business right now might go in tomorrow morning and say, hey, why don't we go do this as a business? Some business owner or some employee might be thinking that right now.
Yeah, great team building opportunity to come in and serve the community together.
Team building, that's right, to go out there together
Absolutely.
and do something outside of work. Wonderful. Well, Priscilla, I know you've done some thinking about the why of why you do this. Why are you in this position?
When Hope on the Hill approached me about this program, one of the things that I thought about was hope. hope. Most people that are in difficult situation or one paycheck away from not having groceries, they're in a sad position. They're in a desperate position where looking to see if they can stretch $1 for paying electricity might not cover their next meal. Being able to be that hope, that love, that hand that says, you know, we got you. This week we got you. May get them through the next week. May get them through the next month. May get them the next opportunity that they're looking for to advance themselves in life, or just that little bit of light that they need for getting through the difficult situation that has them right at that point in time.
It's also an interesting opportunity for families to come. It's a community that comes on Saturday mornings, and you'll see there's certain tables of people that always sit together, and they have their, you know, Saturday morning breakfast together, or, you know, parents who have, you know, maybe 4 kids, and like that's a lot of mouths to feed, and so being able to come as a family and go to a restaurant to get a meal is not necessarily always feasible, but coming to Saturday morning breakfast is. So it's an opportunity for families to have that chance to eat together in that way too.
That's a great testimony to your efforts. I really appreciate that. You know, I've admired Heidi for, just pretend she's not here for a minute.
So have we.
I've admired Heidi for a long time. And as the leader there, I've seen Hope on the Hill succeed, grow, flourish. Maybe you could tell folks at home, maybe what about her, because I like to read biographies about successful people. And just take one thing, like what's the thing that they are strong in, maybe 1 or 2 things that works for you, you know, because I know it really exists with Heidi. What comes to mind when you think about why is she so good at what she does?
Heidi?
Yeah.
Passion.
Yeah.
She has a heart for this.
Yeah.
And she doesn't take a no for an answer. She sees people for people, not for just items that you go across the street. So yeah, her heart, her passion.
And I love how good of a resourcer she is. Heidi knows that she can't do it all alone. And just to watch her, you know, see a need and say, I can make this connection to another person. She's great at doing that. And that's really what, you know, gets it all done, to have a community of support. And she's really good at identifying those places.
Well, hopefully I'm one of those resources, because we were standing next to each other at Greeters a few months ago, and she said, hey, like be on the show, we've got a new partnership with Co-op I'd like to talk about, and so I'm happy to have you here to serve that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To serve that. And I think people are curious maybe a little bit about, there's lots of volunteers needed, 25 every week, and but then also the food. Where does the food come from?
Go ahead. I want to add something in really quick about the volunteering before we switch gears a little bit, because we're talking about the need for it and the serving the people, but you get something so much more out of it when you're giving it. You might be showing up because you think, oh, there's a need and I should serve my community and I should get plugged in. But there's an intrinsic value that goes incredibly deep. You know, I had the privilege this last Tuesday of seeing Dr. Mike Miller with Miller Chiropractic at a business meeting. And he came up to me with the biggest smile in the world and embraced me in a hug and was like, Saturday morning was so amazing. He's like, I got to get out there and I got to serve and I got to talk with people, and telling me about the people that he met and he interacted with. He was beaming. Because of the opportunity that he had and what he got out of it. At no point did he say, man, that person needed this so much, I'm glad I was there for them. You know, he, for probably 5 minutes talked about how important it was to him as an individual to volunteer. And so before we move on from volunteering, I do want to maybe just give that example of how valued that is to an individual in that position.
I think like there's some pent-up frustration I was expressing when I see someone that I don't know and I don't know how to help. When you get an opportunity, it's like, wow, yes, finally, I can let out some of this compassion or concern that I have in a way that will help, I feel like I'm part of the solution instead of just standing back watching, not being confused about what can I do.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity for that, for people to experience what Mike Miller is
Absolutely.
experiencing. Yeah, I often say if I've been to something like that, hey, I feel like I've been to church. You know, it just feels
You
good.
have.
Yeah.
You have.
Quite literally.
It's a spiritual experience. It really
For
is.
sure. Okay.
All right, now can we get to the food?
We can.
Okay, where's that food come
Derailed
from?
you.
Where's all
Where's the food come
like
from?
they plan a menu, and do they ever write, escargot, and you go, well, I don't think so. Where are we
It's
going to get
It's
that?
pretty gourmet,
It's
but
breakfast, so we're not doing escargot for breakfast.
Okay.
But we buy the food from Whitecap. It would really not be possible to get all of this food if it wasn't for the access to Whitecap.
And Whitecap is part of the Oregon Food Bank. Or
Correct.
it's a distribution point for the Oregon Food Bank.
Exactly.
And so how does the Oregon Food Bank work? Where do they get it? And then they distribute food for very reduced cost. 25% is a number that's in my mind. Can you help me?
It's by the pound, and it depends. So 14 cents a pound, or sometimes they're half share, depending on where the food comes in from. So there's a variety of sources that the Oregon Food Bank gets the food, and there's some USDA and FEMA funding that also comes in and covers that. One of the more recent programs that got going in our area in the last 18 months is the Fresh Alliance program. Grocery stores are incentivized, instead of throwing out food waste or discounting it at a steep rate, they donate it into the Oregon Food Bank system, and then it comes into the meal sites and the food pantries. So milk, yogurt, fresh cut produce are a few examples of a Fresh Alliance food. And it has a very quick turnaround. So any food like that, we need to be getting on Friday before we're open on Saturday, because it needs to get directly out to the community. But the Oregon Food Bank system has a variety of sources and federal and state funding to feed the state.
I'm just curious about how did that quick turnaround happen on Friday when you aren't ready for it? Where does it arrive, and how do you go get it? And are there trucks going back and forth in town on Friday night, or how does it work?
Whitecap has trucks going out Monday through Friday to the grocery store, even Circle K, anybody that has fresh food. They pick it up and get it directly back to their large freezer and refrigerator spaces, and then you come in when you need it. For the Hope on the Hill Food Pantry, we come in on Monday evening for Tuesday and Thursday afternoon for Thursday evening. For Saturday morning breakfast, we pick up our food order on Fridays, the day before we serve, so that any of that fresh food can come in with the staples, the eggs and potatoes and cooking oil and onions, or whatever it happens to
berries,
be.
yeah, anything.
Whatever.
So you're going over to Whitecap and picking it up. That's part of what you do.
It is
Every Friday.
every
Hands-on.
Friday. Yes, every Friday. Like, we get our grocery list to Whitecap on Mondays or Tuesdays, and they put everything that they have, and most of the time they actually have something fresh that has come in, like the morning of Friday, and
Yeah.
we snatch that up and we take it. So yeah.
Yeah. And anything that's not available through that system, we're paying regular retail value at the grocery store.
Oh, wow.
So to
Okay.
have bacon and sausage and milk, those aren't always available through the Oregon Food Bank system or in the quantities that we need. 300 people are fed on
Yeah.
average every Saturday, so we supplement that by paying full retail at the grocery store.
So you do need not only volunteers but donations.
Yes, please.
And that comes. You do fundraisers. How else do you raise funds?
We have fundraisers. You can set up recurring donations on the Hope on the Hill website. So we have several, and it doesn't matter how small. Give up one coffee a month, and that $5 a month recurring donation really adds up over time. So you can go to the website, do a one-time donation, do a recurring donation, and then you can sponsor Saturday morning breakfast. We have meetings that instead of going to Sherry's or a grocery store, you want to talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
we have a couple of meeting rooms that we have available. We have a couple of groups that actually meet there about once or twice a month, but we have room for more. So our meeting spaces are available for people to come in, and instead of going to Sherry's or instead of going to another venue, they can come in and have their meetings there. And because it's a restaurant style breakfast, everybody can sit down and then we'll come in and serve them.
So, like, say a book club, they want to go out to breakfast
Absolutely.
together. They would have a meeting room as Saturday morning breakfast as a separate room, and they pay for their breakfast.
Yeah, a donation.
A donation.
They get to choose what they feel.
And maybe they'll do that once a month. You have 2 rooms. You have some groups doing that, but you have room for more.
Yes.
Whether it's a community club, a church board meeting, whatever people want to come and gather.
Some people like going out for breakfast before they
Uh-huh.
do activities or
Yeah,
before
breakfast is the best.
Yeah, so
Usually there's syrup involved.
there is syrup. Yes.
Hey, you know what? We're out of time. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming, and bless you and your work. And yes, I will come and volunteer. Thank you. All right.